Microsoft Teams is the Microsoft communication and collaboration package within Office 365. And what happens with Teams is basically Teams is really a user-friendly front end for SharePoint, when SharePoint is the building blocks of Office 365. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm just going to go to the web browser here, and I am going to just go into the Office portal. Here we go. And in the Office portal, what I will see is I will see the application launcher down the side, and you'll see Microsoft Teams here. Now, if we use Microsoft Teams from the Office Launchpad, the office.com window, what that will do is that will open up Teams in the web browser, in the same way that we would use maybe Word Online or PowerPoint Online. We can get the functionality of Teams from there. But you can also, with Microsoft Teams, use or have installed or install yourself the Teams desktop application. And the Teams desktop application, if you focus in on using Teams as your core platform for this communication and collaboration and hybrid teaching and learning and things like that, really my advice is that everybody should be downloading the Teams application from the Office website, the office.com website. And if you haven't done that, or you can't do that, please speak to your support technician who'll be able to help with that, and use the Teams desktop application as your core portal in your organization. So if we launch the Teams application, you'll find the Teams application would be sitting in your start menu, and it will run in the background. So things like any notifications and things like that, which we have up and running, and will be you'll see notifications for them pop up, rather than you having to be signed into the Office window or Office portal all the time. So up here in the top right hand corner, we have my my profile in Teams, and this is quite key because this will also give your users and colleagues in your organization, if you're using Teams, the ability for you to set the presence of what you're doing. So for example, as you can see here, it's already picked up that I am actually presenting. So I've got the red circle with the stop sign in it. I could manually set my presence to maybe I'm just nipping out, or I am busy and I don't want to be disturbed, or of course if I am available and you want to contact me, I can be set to obviously available as well. So you've got that those controls to be aware of on the profile menu. If we look down the left hand side of the screen, what we'll see here is we'll see a list of menu items in what we call the My Space, and that really is the My Space to be all of the things which you deal with. So your Teams activity, your Teams chat, your Teams themselves, as we can see, we're on the Teams screen here. And then obviously we have the ability to do things like set assignments for students as well. So really Teams becomes that kind of complete hub of what we're doing. So as you can see here, I already have a team available, but what we need to do is we need to go and create a team to show you how you can use Teams to get up and running in the quickest way possible. Now, before Teams was really had really come to fruition there, really the ability for you to create a working space for you and your colleagues without having to go from one end of the school to the other was fairly limited. We used to have something in the way of email where we could do exchange groups and things like that, but that was really an IT thing. But what Teams is designed to do is really designed for you to take control of your own kind of the destiny in the way of setting up these spaces, setting up the collaboration and things like that. So you can easily set yourself up a team to work with. Maybe if you're a head teacher, you want to work with your staff. It may be a learning community amongst a federation or a trust, or something like that, or indeed, quite simply, a class team where as a teacher and their students, and you want to be able to make use of the assignments area in the MySpace or something like that. So if we go up to the button here in the top right hand corner, which says join or create a team, we have the option to create a team. Now, when you're creating a team like this, we'll have in the tenant that you have, you will have these 4 options. So running left to right, we obviously have a class team, which is really to, as the name says, have a class team, connect with students, and allow work to be assigned to students and feedback given, and that whole process of the hybrid kind of synchronous, asynchronous teaching model that is really part of the norm of what we do today. So in the class team, you would set that up and it would have things such as a class notebook, a digital note you can that you can share with your class, and really that a place where students can do their homework, teachers could drop in, leave feedback and things like that, as well as some other options that are in there. A professional learning community team really is exactly as it says. It's a PLC team. It gives you another set of kind of documents that it sets up to help you kind of onboard into that PLC. A staff team is a little bit more reduced in the way that it only has a staff notebook that allows that maybe feedback and professional development and things like that. And then we have a other team, which is really like your baseline. So it's really the baseline of what you would set up for maybe a project with other members of staff or a study group, or as we've got their clubs and things like that, potentially when we can all go back to those kind of things. So what I'm going to do is take you through the process of setting up a team. Just really to show you how easy it is to get started, some of the things that you can do. Then we'll have a look at a class team and focus in on utilizing the assignments tab in that class team to allow us to utilize it to set some assignments or tasks for students. So if I choose other at this point, and we will set up a one that we're going to call Teams Training, and this is going to be the title for my team. Underneath that title we will see the description, and on that description that's really optional, but we're just being informative at that point. But this is the most important thing here, is are we making that team private or are we making that team public? So if we make that team public, we can allow anybody in our organization to join. If we make it private, then myself as the owner of the team is the person in charge of managing, should we say, team membership. So what I'm going to do in this case, it's reasonably kind of anonymous in this kind of setup because this is just a training tenant, but I'm just going to set it to public as we speak at the moment. So once that is set there, it's going to ask me to enter some names of people I want to, because I've made it public, I don't actually have to do that. So what I'm going to do is simply choose skip. And now, as you can see here, what we now have is our Teams training set up. So the Teams training itself now presents you with a couple of more areas. So here we increase what we call the MySpace area to encompass the team itself, and what we would call, or we regard as, channels, as almost like subsections of the team itself. So a channel itself is really like a separate area. So if we look at the team itself, we have at the moment a general channel, but I can go to the Teams menu here, the three dots. I can click on there and I can add further sections. So if I choose to add a channel here, this may well be some kind of subsection that I want to add. So maybe it's a project that I'm working on, and this is maybe a sub project that kind of relies on it. If this was a class team, this may be a topic or a heading that we're doing in the term or something like that. And I'll come back to this again in the class team a little bit later on. So if we look at the Canvas area in a basic team, again, what we'll now see is we now see our heading. So this is the same general, this tab here relates to this heading here. And we have two what we would call tabs in there, and those tabs have got the word post and files in. Okay, so the posts itself is really our conversation piece. And that conversation piece means that we are communicating with our students, or we are communicating with colleagues using that conversation window, rather than the notorious email threads that we will send out to people and things like that. The files tab here, which again is common to every team, the files tab is all about your files that you are working with your team. So if you can imagine, it's like your OneDrive that you have in Office 365, and you are now sharing that automatically within your team. Okay, so any files that I create here allow me to, everybody in my team has access to. So what I'm now going to do then is, what I shall do is go back to my three dots. I'm going to go back to my so this is your management menu, should we say, for your team. Okay, so if I go back to my options here that say manage team, you can see here in my list there is me. I'm the owner, or the teacher effectively. And what I'm going to now do is I'm going to go to the settings menu, and I'm going to generate what we call a team code. So my team code allows me, or people in my organization, to join my team itself. So what you may see on your teams, on your school tenant, that you will have is, again, you would see this, you'd see somewhere in the top right hand corner, there'll be a button that will say join or create a team. And if you clicked on that, you would then see an option to join a team with a code. Now, if you're on your own school tenant, then you won't be able to join these teams directly. But if you're on the same tenant, the N6 tenant, then you would be able to join there as well. So as we move forward there, what we're going to do is I'm just going to join a machine here. Okay. And while we're doing that, I'm seeing any, just check on the screen now. Does anybody have any? I was noticing some IMs coming through. Have we got those? Any questions at all just before we continue on the next bit? No, I think we're good. That's good. So what we want to do is we want to join this team, so we can allow us to get some interaction going in that respect. So if we got that team code, let's pop back to those settings, and what we'll just do is, while we're here, we're just going to just give our teams training a bit of a theme here. Okay, just to make sure that we know which one's which. That's cool. Good. Right, so I'm just going to jump onto another machine now, and we're just going to join. I've got a test person here, which hopefully we can get joined. So just let me pick out that team code again, and let's go to Teams on the other machine, or if not, we might just use the computing team. So we have a code of that Z08KGQ. There we go. Great. So I have just typed into my other machine, and I have now typed in that code in the join or meet, join a team, and what I've now done is I've now joined. And the way I can check that is if I now come back to members and choose the members list, we can now see that I've joined and Simon has also joined as well. So that really means that I can pick on Simon for all sorts of demos in a moment. So if we go back now, have our members, again, I could have maybe simply managed my team and added a member and picked on people, so I could pick people out. If I was doing a class team, that would be something that we would draw that information from your management information system. So you would then maybe set up a year 5 class or a year 3 class, and we could add those that way as well, as you can see there. So we don't have to add teams individually, we can add teams by group names and things like that. But now we have a team available. We can use the conversation piece to message people and post some files as well. So this is really just that starting piece on the communication and the collaboration side. So Simon, if you're there, would you post a message to me in the Teams training window, please? Pressure's on. Or if Simon isn't there and has just joined automatically, I will do it from this one. Ah, hello, Kevin. Hello, well, thank you, Simon. So as you can see there, Simon has sent a message into the posts, the chat window, and I have seen that the fact that my name is highlighted here, okay, and I've got this sort of red tag, this @ symbol over here on the right hand side, and it says you were mentioned. So the first thing I can do, really, without having to send him back an email going, that's really cool, is I've got those kind of familiar social media tools. So I can just give Simon a quick thumbs up on that one. Means I don't have to really, if I don't want to, contact him directly or send him an email or anything like that. We'll just acknowledge that I've seen that. And the reason why my name has come up in red there is that Simon has actually mentioned me. So this is another kind of social media tool set that everybody really utilizes. So if you're a Twitter user, you'll see it's very familiar there. And if I choose reply and then went at Simon, I can pick Simon's details there, and glad to be here. And I've now done the same process back to Simon. Now, everybody who is in my team would see these messages, but because it has been mentioned, the person who that message is intended for will have that little red symbol to the right hand side, and will also would have got a notification as well. So if I look up here in the My Space menu, okay, so above Teams into the one that says chat as well, what we'll see is we'll see the chat conversations that are going on as well. So now that we've done a basic kind of message to each other, what we can do is we can maybe tell our team that we've got a bit of an event going on. So we'll hit the format button here. So this is like a rich text editor. So you'll want to do a little bit more than this, but we want it to stand out. So this could be, for example, an announcement rather than a conversation. And we can say that Teams training will be at 4 p.m. Okay, so here's a banner. We can make that a little bit more colorful if we want to, just to make it stand out. So let's pick a nice, there we go, nice mountainy background. The online session will be. And in my announcement, I can still do one of these @ mentions. So for example, here I can hit the @ key. I can @ mention Simon at this point, but if I wanted to mention my whole team, all 2 of us, then I can now @ mention the team as well. So this would mean that if I am utilizing Teams as that communication piece, and I want to get a message out to everybody, I can easily post this, make everybody aware in the teams that I'm working in, that it's this note is available for them. So if I hit the button here, you'll now see we've got a message that's now popped up. I've now got a notification because I've been @ mentioned as well. And you'll now see that that is now in the thread. On the post button, the list that we have here, we've got other facilities. So we've got that rich formatting. We've got the ability to attach files, and we'll come back to that one later. You also have things like the emojis, the GIFs, and the stickers. These are the more fun ones, and rest assured you can turn these off for students in that 3-dot menu that we see at the top of the screen. So these are really the fun ones here, these 3. We can schedule a meeting, of course, so maybe in a professional learning group that you might want to schedule an online meeting to speak with colleagues at a particular time. So we could schedule that from directly within this window. Or likewise, we have the ability to Meet Now. So Meet Now gives us the opportunity simply to fire up the meeting application and simply invite someone. So based on their availability, you'd be able to invite someone directly into a meeting and have that conversation with them. So again, without emailing, "Are you free?" you'll be able to tell from this window that that person's available, and it's very much just like video calling on any social media platform as well. So,
hi Kevin, you've got on mute again. Kevin, can you hear me? You're on mute.
Oh dear, that happened last time, I seem to remember.
Yeah, well,
I'm back.
We'll have to turn the settings off.
How long have I been on mute for?
Only about 30 seconds.
Oh, that's good. So let me go back. Let me unwind a bit. So yeah, if we go across these buttons here, we've got the Meet Now functionality. So again, if you've seen that, if I've said that just now, this really is the ability that you can meet instantaneously with colleagues based on their presence. So remember the status that we have here. If they're available, you'd be able to meet with them, but if they're on busy or do not disturb, you wouldn't. So an instant way of making a video call. But I was talking about, before I found out I was muted, the options that we have here, the social media likes, dislikes, but we've got this more options here. So let me just make that disappear. So I've got the ability to save, I've got the ability to edit messages, of course. Important ones here are the ability to translate a message. So maybe if you're using Teams with students and English isn't their first language, you've got the student has the ability to translate a post really easily. Alternatively, you've got that immersive reader view. So if you joined us last week for the last session, that same immersive reading view is available on all of these applications in the Office 365 suite. So really allowing people to really get the best of that inclusivity and accessibility within Office 365. So don't forget, you've got the 3 dots menu up here on the post as well. So that really deals with the communication side of things in that respect. We can go to the Files tab, okay, and the Files tab really is all of the documents that your team would need to be stored here, basically. So we're storing those documents in Office 365. So the benefits of this are the storage, the backup, the data security, the data compliance, aspects of storing in the cloud against storing on your local machine. And of course, well, when I say local machine, your server in school. And of course, likewise, if you've got people who are working from home, who are isolating or teaching from home, then by making sure that these resources are available to people in their respective teams. So for example, it might be a staff team with staff information, or an SLT team with SLT information. Only people who have access to the team will have access to the files themselves. So if I wanted to move things from a server or an existing machine or a USB stick, I can go to folder, I can browse for a folder and upload a whole folder into my Teams drive. So I'm going to just simply do a new PowerPoint document, and I'm going to call it really original demo, and I am going to spin up a PowerPoint document and going to use that as a document that we're going to do. So we're going to do the Kevin and Simon demos. Okay. So once I've done that and close that down, what we'll now see is we now have that PowerPoint file, which is there in my files area. So Simon now, because Simon is a member of our Teams training team, has the ability that if he goes to the files tab, he would be able to open that document and continue working on it or continue editing it. Or alternatively, we could both be working on that document together in a collaborative form at the same time. So real-time collaboration going on there. Likewise, if I created a new Word document, it would be exactly the same. So I do a new Word document. Here I am in Word Online. So I haven't had to go and launch Microsoft Word from the start menu at all. And I've got all of that great functionality that I would expect to see. So again, if I click here, I may want to simply just dictate the information to the machine and use the dictation tool. He says, let's just click on stop it and start it. There we go. Oh, Simon's in there. I was going to use the dictation tool, but it must be this time of the day. But Simon's looks like he's actually editing something there for me as well. So again, could be real-time collaboration really happening at that time. Simon, can you type something for me? That's better. Thank you. Oh, now you're going to do me. Okay. So really what I should be able to do is I should be able to dictate to the machine, but I think that might be my demo machine causing a few hiccups on a Thursday afternoon. But I'm just going to we'll just close that down, and we're going to just go the answer is, and again, got that real-time collaboration. So interestingly, thank you, Simon. Interestingly, the question this morning was, what happens if we had loads of students collaborating at the same time? Well, there's certain kind of rules to collaborative document work that you want to kind of really work to. You don't really want to be letting 30 or 40 people into one document together at the same time, because it certainly could become a bit of a mess in that respect. But you want to maybe think about how people work together, how students maybe work in small groups, and things like that, and lay some kind of guidelines out to using that collaboration work itself. So if we close that down now, we'll go back to our two documents here, and we'll now see that that list is building. If we go back to the new menu and choose folder, of course, we can add a folder, and we can move and copy and drag files in between and organize them how we want to. So what we've covered there is the basic team setup, the ability for you to communicate really effectively using the posts window, and also the ability that your files are stored securely and in a compliant manner within Teams, which unlocks the ability for people at home to work securely on those documents as well, without having to worry about servers and VPNs and things like that as we go forward. So what we'll now do, excuse me, is we're now going to go back to our all teams and take a little bit of a peek about what a class team would look like in the same window. So for example, our teams training here on the left-hand side is, right-hand side is effectively our staff to staff conversation. But our class team on the left-hand side is going to be our staff to student conversation. So if I click on that team, okay, the first thing I'm going to need to do is, because this team has already been created, we really want to go and just go into the ... menu, choose manage team, and just see who we've got as the members. So there is my demo account, but actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose add member, and I'm going to search for Simon again. So try that one. Hopefully that is you, Simon, and we'll choose close. So that should add Simon back as the member. So that's how I can simply add somebody directly into the class team. Again, same things that I've got up the top here. If I go to settings, I can pick a theme, which I've already done. We can also start defining what members can do. So again, when you're setting up, if you're setting up a team for a class of students, you want to think about what you want those students as members to be able to do. And again, you can obviously seek some guidance from your on-site technician to help you set these up as well. In that respect, don't worry about guest permissions things. The other thing you probably want to take a look at is the fun stuff. So what we want to do again is maybe to stop students sending pictures of different things at the moment. We want to untick that to remove all of that fun stuff from the post window. Okay, so just things to be aware of. So again, when you set up any team yourself, always check these three dots, the more options, to see what you want to fine tune and configure. If I then go back to those three dots there, I mentioned earlier on the ability to create a channel. So a channel really would be, if we look in this general channel, this is where everything starts from. Oh, hi, Simon. And if I choose the buttons to make and add a channel, then that allows me to create a subsection. So this could be a topic that we're doing. So maybe this is about the BBC micro bit, for example. And again, I could make this by default, it's what we call a standard channel, but we could make it private, excuse me. But I am going to add it automatically to everybody's channel list and choose add. So what we now see is we now got 2 channels. So in my general channel here, I've got my same posts that we had earlier on. I've still got files, and in the files area, what you'll actually now see is you will see a folder there called class materials. Now those class materials are there because you have created a class team. Okay, so this is a read-only folder for students and a read-write folder for teachers. So your class materials can't be, you can put them in there, but they can't be moved as well. If we go to the class notebook, the class notebook itself is a digital OneNote notebook for your class. Now, this one has already been set up, and if I kind of hit that button to expand the structure, what you'll see is you'll find a digital notebook for the class that I'm in. Okay, now it hasn't added Simon yet. It takes a little while once we've added a new person manually for it to kind of filter through. But what we've got here is we've got a digital notebook. So if we look at that space, we have got the what we call a collaboration space. So this is again available off this tab. Collaboration space means that all my students and me as the teacher can collaborate in one place. So almost like a mind mapping kind of whiteboard exercise, I suppose. We get a content library, and that is for teacher resources. So students can't edit that. And then we have a teacher only section. So if I click on the teacher only section, what this will do is this will allow me to create my resources and nobody in the class will see. Soon as that teacher resource is ready, we can take that page and we can drag it from the teacher only section and we could drop it in the content library. Okay. Now, by dropping it into the content library means that at that point, the students can read that content, and as the teacher, I can obviously edit that content. So, for example, if this was this image here was a diagram that we wanted them the students to be able to annotate, they would actually have to copy it from the content library into their own space, which we see down here. Now, this space is actually defined by the teacher. So in this student's notebook, he has 4 sections, which are class notes, handouts, homework, and quizzes. So as the teacher, if you can imagine, we would have maybe 20 or 30 students down here. As the teacher, from this one point of entry, I can start to go in, I can look at the work that they're doing, and I can give feedback to the students, either maybe through audio, as we see up here, or if I used a digital pen, for example, that would also be a great way that I could give feedback directly to students in that respect. So the pen, digital pen from a Surface perspective, or other sort of brands of computer, really obviously kind of allows you to use it in that true pen and ink kind of feedback. So you've got various things. You've even got stickers as well, and other emojis that you can use to give feedback to students. And there's also a social emotional learning pack that's just been launched for OneNote. So that really hones down onto giving feedback and encouraging students that way as well. So really, class notebooks themselves, you really want to think about them as a digital pen and paper. Some people will use them from day one, you know, so they're using it as students who are doing their homework can do their homework directly into the OneNote class notebook, and the teacher can just go in and amend and see and give feedback directly that way. So that class notebook, as I say, is built every time that you create your team. And then the next tab that you see in the class team is the one that says assignments. Now, the assignments is that automated process of making a homework assignment to the student and allowing that student to complete that task and turn it in electronically. So just to see, we'll give this a go with Simon, because Simon hasn't done any homework since this morning session. So we'll give this another go. So what I would do here within my class team is I would simply go and create an assignment. Now I get three options. Sorry, I get three options. One is to use existing assignments, so I can use assignments that I've created in the past as a template. I can use a quiz, so I could use Microsoft Forms to create a quick test or quick quiz for students as a homework, or I can use the assignment button. So the assignment button is the process I want to show you today. So what I'm going to do is create a very simple assignment. So all I would do is go, the assignment title is the Hello World program. I would add the instructions to say create your Hello World program in a Word file. And I might want to add some resources for those students. So I click on add resources, and I could maybe pick something which is in my OneDrive. I may pick a page from my class notebook in my content library, or I may just want to add a link maybe to a website. So in this case, if you're going to do some coding, the best website to go to is makecode.com. and attach that, and then I can give a scoring. So I'm going to put a maximum points, 10 points on the board for this. I have a button here that says I can add a rubric should I want to. So if I want to give clarity to that marking scheme, I could add a rubric and some targets there as well. And then I can choose who I'm sending it to. So by default, obviously, I get the ability to send to all students. In that respect, if I wanted to differentiate these tasks, I may just send it to Simon, for example, and get him to do a task and maybe send it to the other student to do another task. As we move down the list here, underneath the all students, you'll see it says don't assign to students added to this class in the future. So that really is a new setting that is literally just come in at the moment. So again, come back to that when that becomes mainstream. But really what we then have is the due date and the time due and this screen here. So the assignment will be posted immediately with late hand-ins allowed. If we check the edit button there, okay, we can look at the screen, and what we would see is the fact that we either want to let that or make that assignment right here, right now. And if not, we could schedule it for maybe release on Monday, as an example. We can set that due date to be, well, if it's going to be Monday, we'll set that due date to be the following Friday. And at the moment, what we don't have is we do allow late turn. But if you wanted to put a kind of hard stop on that that turn-in date, we can actually hit the close date button, and that would put a hard stop on it beyond Friday, 30th October. Okay, but we don't need to do that. Okay, so we're going to let that run right now, right here, right now. And then if we go down to the last line in settings, we have the post assignment notifications into the general channel. The general channel being this one up here. But what we might find is we might find that with lots of homework assignments being put out, you'll see that general channel really kind of get really busy with the assignments are going. So I'm going to choose to hit that, and I'm going to drop the homework, which is about the Hello World program, into the BBC Microbit channel. If I choose done and choose assign, there we go. I now have 2 bits of assignments which are out there in the wild. And as you can see here, as soon as I've done that in the BBC Microbit channel, I've now got a notification to say that that one is now live. It's been notified to everybody in the group, okay, where you can tell here by this little symbol again. And if I choose to view the assignment as the teacher, what I should begin to see is I can see that Simon is very much on the ball and he has viewed his assignment already. However, Kevin Demo hasn't looked at it just yet. And therefore, I can then see the progress of what that student does with the assignment. So if Simon is busy typing away and creating his Hello World program, what we'll then see is when Simon completes that and turns that in, we would see the number up here in the return section head up to 1, and we would be able to then go and mark that document and mark that out of 10. We would be able to leave some feedback as well. We would be able to maybe return that document back to the student if we wanted them to expand on that or something like that as well. So that assignments process is really straightforward in the Teams process. And what that leads to in the end is it leads to this automatic gradebook to be created. So there we can see the gradebook has started. We've got 2 bits of assignments there, and it looks like actually I'm going to go back to assignments because it looks like Simon has he's turned it in. So let's just have a look at the assignment, and you can see here that Simon indeed has been very vigilant, and he has turned his work in. So that's really good. World. Sorry, the only problem. Yeah. So because Simon's done this in Word, I haven't got the option to do direct audio feedback or pen or anything like that. So I'm just gonna simply select a different color and go, yay, well done. Superb on the document. But of course, I can give that direct feedback as well in the feedback window. And of course, Simon's going to get 10 out of 10 for that, and I can now return that document back to him. If we close that down, so that process has now gone through, and we can see the returned, which we've done. We've ticked, we've given the grade. If we go to the grades, what we should now see is Simon has now scored 10 on that last assignment. And what that means is as I go through the term, the gradebook will automatically begin to hold that history of that student progress. So in the top right hand corner there, I've got the button that says export to Excel. Now, if I can export to Excel, I can do absolutely great things. I could create progress dashboards for free using Power BI in Office 365 to chart that child's progress from the start of term to where they are now. Okay, and again, some schools have utilized that kind of process in the way of not having to pay for analytical programs to do the same thing. So that is the assignments process in a team, which you can implement today to allow you to digitally make assignments, have students turn them in and mark them. Now, again, my advice is this isn't something that we really should just go this is how we're doing it now. This is really that equal investment in teaching and students. So we really want to make sure that maybe your older kind of key stage 2 children, if you're going to utilize this, really understand it. So if you've got that ability to run through this in an IT room or something like that, this will be a real benefit to people in that respect. So lastly, just being mindful of the time as we're coming up, we have this little plus sign that we see over here. And if I click on the plus sign, this does also allow me to kind of fine tune my Teams experience. So you'll see things like I mentioned, that you could take that analytical data and make progress dashboards out of it in Power BI. So here's the Power BI add-on. It may be the fact that I want to get my students to look at a particular website. For example, maybe it's the Make Code website. Now, I don't know if this will open directly in Teams, but we'll give it a go. If not, it will open in a new tab, I would have thought. So if we add that in there, there we go. You can see I've now just simply added that website. So again, students could be working on a document here in this window. They might want to just go and have a pull some information from makecode.com in that respect, and not have to worry about many open windows and moving around and things like that. Another one which is really good would be forms. Excuse me. The form would obviously allow you to create yourself a test for your students. So we could create a form, we could attach it in there, and you would have a form in that team as well. So really, Teams becomes that hub of communication, collaboration, but also bringing a lot of the other Office 365 tools together as well, in that respect, to create that kind of dynamic, kind of engaging learning space. Now, students themselves, if you are utilizing this, can access Teams off their tablet, be it Android or Apple. They can even access it from a smartphone. The experience is scalable and fluid throughout the Teams journey. So you may well set that assignment on your desktop PC, but they may well complete it on an iPad, for example, at home, in that respect. But the experience, if you teach them all the controls on a desktop PC, it's the same controls on an iPad or an Android or a phone or something like that as well. So just being aware of the time, it is 16:42. Are there any thoughts, questions that spring to mind in the way of using Teams to start that collaboration, that communication processes in school? Okay. Simon, do you have anything else you need to add?
No, not as far as I'm aware.
Okay, well, I'm just going to finish off in the last couple of minutes with using the Microsoft Educator community as well. So I'm sure people who were on the last call, you would have, I would have mentioned this, but I'd like to just mention it again. If this is your first time with Teams, I would strongly recommend you going to the Microsoft Educator community, education.microsoft.com, and you'll see this is the free CPD training resource from Microsoft, which allows teachers like yourself to access all of these great courses. So, for example, here, the Transforming Learning with Teams course. And it allows you to complete the course. You can complete the course in your own time, obviously, and you will accumulate points. You'll accumulate lots of lovely badges. Those badges will become your training profile, as you can see here. And it basically means that you will be able to join the Microsoft Innovative Educator Pathway. It's a certification pathway that is globally recognized sort of CP pathway from Microsoft. And there's lots of great things that you can then begin to do and unlock in the community regarding MIEs. So education.microsoft.com is the website to go to, and free to sign up. Simply sign in with your organization email address. If it requires, you may well need to acquire your global admin, who will be from ICT Solutions, to okay that for your organization. But I would strongly recommend this as a great way of drilling down further into making the best use of Teams and Office 365 within your school. So it is 4:45. Thank you very much, everybody, for your time. If you have any questions, please, you'll get my best to find me on Twitter. I am at Kevin_Sate. Please, if you have any thoughts, questions, or just like to reach out to me, please don't hesitate to connect with me on Twitter. Thank you very much for your time. Hope you have a good day and the half term, everybody, as we go forward. Thank you.